For those of you that already know that Zhiyun actually makes his modifiers, if you will try to search for something on YouTube, there's not really a lot of luck out there, because I believe this is going to be the only video currently on YouTube to find out anything about the softboxes here. So before I start anything here, I would like to show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys everything regarding the softboxes here, which are some lantern softboxes, some parabolic softboxes, what they do, and the advantages and disadvantages of getting a parabolic softbox. Also this one here on top that can actually serve for many purposes. I'm going to show you guys here everything they want to know about the softboxes, including people in front of them, so you know what they look like, and also some techniques that are developed along the years you probably want to find interesting to watch, how not to break these rods from any parabolic softbox, because some people, they're a little rough on their gear. So I'm going to show you guys here everything that you need to know about softboxes. So stay tuned, don't go nowhere, I'll be right back. And a quick disclaimer, Zhiyun sent me the softboxes for me to test it out. I don't get paid to say anything here, and this video is not sponsored by Zhiyun, and all my words and opinions, they are my own. In this video, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but the type of work that I do here is more oriented towards a workshop than just a review. So I would actually advise you guys to watch if you want to learn everything about softboxes and modifiers and what they do and what they don't do. So over here you're looking at two parabolic softboxes, and right here two lantern softboxes. They're all the same except the size difference. So obviously I would actually load the bigger lantern softbox on the G200, that's a bigger light, and the little ones here actually load on the X100. So right now I have some pretty heavy duty stands. This thing weighs a ton, and they're also very expensive. This is a cinema grade light stand, as you can see here. This thing is like weighs a ton. So this is what it looks like right there. So it doesn't necessarily mean, hold on, oh man. Whew. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually need stands like that for lights like this, because they are very portable. So pretty much anything decent light stand wise, you can actually use this light, unless you actually install heavier modifiers such as this one here and this one right here, and then you want to look for something more heavy duty, but it doesn't necessarily mean to be this exaggerated right here. I'm at my commercial studio in the mall, so there's kids crying here, UPS, FedEx, transiting here. Sometimes it can be a pain in the ass, this background noise here, which I cannot control, so I apologize the background noise. So the smaller one is the 65D and the larger one is the 85D. They both come complete with the same exact thing. They both come with the pouches, and also both come with this type of accessory here to avoid light leaking. So if you want to use the softbox the way it is here, the purpose of that is to light 360 degrees, which means, let's say if you have a podcast video going on, everybody sitting on the table, you can actually put this modifier on a boom and light everybody evenly. And if you have a larger table with more people sitting, you actually want to choose the bigger modifier. And of course, if you choose a larger modifier, make sure you're not putting the X100 right here. You want to put the G200, because this goes up to 300 watts. Therefore, the light needs to travel more because of the depth of the modifier, including this type of parabolic softboxes here. So keep that in mind. And above my head, I have the 60D mini parabolic softbox, and this is the 90D, and they both come also with a pouch, and they both come with a grid as well. And the same exact deal with the parabolic softboxes. The smaller ones, you want to use a less powerful light, and this one here requires a more powerful light because of the depth of the softbox, which the parabola shape is not a cone, is actually a C shape, is a lot wider. So I've been in this business for a long time, and I'm going to show you guys the advantages and the disadvantages regarding a parabolic softbox, because a lot of people might have questions, should I buy a parabolic softbox or not? That depends what you want to do or what you want to achieve with this type of softbox. Let's start with the true parabola shape, which is, for example, the Broncola Para series. For example, the Para 222 is a 2 meter wide modifier, and a parabolic modifier, which is not a softbox, is going to cost you thousands of dollars, starting at $1,500 all the way to $7,000 or more. So what those parabolic modifiers do, they actually come with the built-in rod inside, which you actually put your studio strobe or your LED inward. So when you actually pull the rod inside the softbox, all the way inside here, the light is going to be more concentrated on a sharper beam. When you actually pull the rod away from the center of the parabolic modifier, you're going to have a softer light. However, that does not provide a diffuse light, nor it is a hard light. It provides something called specular light, which is a higher contrast lighting, and the shadows, they're still there, but they're a lot different than a hard light. It's a very pleasing, very pretty shadow to look at. And that thing is gonna flood the entire studio with a beautiful giant specular light. So with that out of the way, I'm gonna show you guys exactly what you get out of this particular shape of modifiers right here, which they call parabolic softbox. As soon as you install the diffuser in front, it looks no different than any other softbox. When you remove the actual diffuser, that's when you're actually getting something out of here different than a regular softbox with a diffuser. For example, this one here, it features the same 16 rods, very easy to use and everything, the same exact thing that happens over here. But this one here, light takes very little effort to travel from here to the end of the softbox. This particular type of softboxes here, the parabolic ones, requires a more powerful light for the same reason, because the light takes a lot to cut through all these diffusions here, the inside diffusion and out. That's why you need a more powerful light. As soon as you put a diffuser in front of this modifier here, parabolic softboxes, you are canceling 100% of the effect of a parabola shape. When you remove the actual diffuser, when you actually place this modifier, for example, that backdrop right there, you're not going to be leaking light on the floor. This light is going to be concentrating the beam more directionally like this here. And then when you actually put the grid, it even helps even more, right? So this is the advantage of the cone-shaped softbox. This is actually a heavier modifier, again, because of the shape of it. It's a lot heavier than this one here. This one is the same exact thing, the same 16 rods as you can see here. But I actually want to see Zhiyun also making this modifier to complete their line, because sometimes you want this type of softbox here, and sometimes you want this one here. So without a diffuser, this is the primary advantage of this particular cone-shaped parabolic softbox, if that's what you want to do. Now, if your plan is to permanently have the diffuser attached to the front of the softbox, see the octagon softbox I have in the back there, as soon as you put a diffuser in front of this modifier, the performance is exactly the same, just to keep that in mind. So the only disadvantage that I see on a parabolic softbox is the weight, because it's a heavier modifier since it is a very deep modifier. And the G200 seems to hold this thing like if it is nothing. Once you lock that particular light, you will hold this thing like, it doesn't even bow. Look at that. Now the lantern softboxes, however, they need to be this shape because it is a balloon type of thing, right? So it needs to be similar size or depth of this particular softbox right here. And it has a lot of silver material, which helps the light to actually reflect all over the place, at the end giving a very soft light. And you can also hook up this type of accessory here, that this particular softbox is going to behave like a front directional light, like a softbox is. And you can actually remove this at any time. And you can also decide how much of it you want in the front here. You just keep pulling all the way here to complete lighting control. I like it this way because it will perform just like a softbox when I don't need it to be all over the place, like a 360 degrees, with bare bone without anything installed. And this is what the softbox with the grid looks like. And here's the lantern softbox without anything in front of it. So it lights everything. So here's the lantern softbox with the skirt installed in this particular way that I did here. And this is the lighting control that you have. So as you can see, the couch is no longer hit, or most of it is not hit. And as you can see, there's no light leaking here. Make sure this is actually nice and taut, very nice and neat, so there's no light leaking right here. So here are the two parabolic softboxes here. The first impression that I had when I received this product, the actual finish and the construction of the softbox, and also the very discreet soft like gold detail. It's not like screaming loud gold, it's just like this particular color here. And also the grid, as you can see, when you actually flip it down, there's no tummy, it doesn't do that. It stays right against the actual diffuser, as you can see here. And the purpose of this grid, if you don't know, when you don't see the white, it means the light is not hitting anything. So as soon as you see the white, that's when the light starts to shine on something, right? Now if you never had a softbox with grids, never attempt to remove the grid from here or from here, because you're going to destroy the grid. Always remove from the very edge where the Velcro is. Take it easy. There you go. And to fold the grid, either use a table or a floor like this, so it's very easy to put this away. Done. And on my grids, I always put it back on this little cellophane paper to be free of debris and dust and dirt. So put it back the way it was before, like this. And over here, there's also a rotating ring. You can actually rotate the softbox any way you want, especially if you have the Zhiyun logo facing this way here or this way. And inside, of course, we have the inner diffuser and the outer diffuser. And next, I'm going to show you guys here how to actually properly assemble the softbox without breaking anything. And the same exact thing with this particular ones here. You guys probably have the old school type of soft boxes, the one that you actually have to manually assemble each one of these rods, and the more rods that you assemble, the more pressure it creates right here. So the last 2 rods is incredibly difficult, but I actually have a tutorial on YouTube how to take this off in less than 4 seconds. So the technique that I'm going to show you guys here is the same exact thing on the old school softbox system and the new one here. Because if you try to remove this rod, not even the Incredible Hulk can actually take this out of here if you don't use this technique. You must bend the softbox because it makes the distance like closer, right? So I want to show you guys here how long it will take for me to disassemble this here. You bend the softbox this way and then watch. So half of the softbox is already out, right? Putting the rods back, bend it. There you go, assembled. Now let me show you the same thing with this softbox here. A lot of people tell me that I have a special touch for everything, so if you want to wash this part, it's up to you. I'm going to show you guys how to have this softbox lasting forever without breaking this particular rods right here. So all you have to do, as you can see, if you actually press your thumb here, this thing automatically undoes it, right? But you can hear the amount of pressure that's actually being released right here. You don't want to do that. So you want to bend the softbox throughout the halfway of the process here because there's a lot of pressure right here, right? All you have to do is to bend the softbox really good right here. So when I actually press this button here, this must go up while you press this button, right? So bend the softbox and then you do this. And hear how much more silent the whole process is because there's no stress on a softbox. This way here. And then halfway through, you don't have to bend it anymore because there's no pressure here anymore. Right? Now to reassemble the softbox, you can start without bending. When you are halfway, stop it. Bend the softbox now. It's usually preferred with carpet because the stuff slides all over the place here. This is made of the concrete floor, right? So bend the softbox like this here. Bend it. And there you go. If you want to do this way, this softbox will never break. Now if you choose to do this in a violent way real quick here, this is going to be the first thing to go. It doesn't matter if this thing is made of metal or plastic. It does not matter. You're going to break the softbox. And I like to be neat, so I like my Velcros very tight right here. You can actually put your hand under. It only takes a few seconds. There you go. Now to install the softbox, you're going to have to open one of these here to put your hand here. So this is the easiest way to actually maneuver the softbox this way here. And here's the lantern softbox. So the whole concept of the whole thing is just press it down like this here. There's 2 little hooks that it looks like this here, right? And to undo it, you just press it down. The whole thing gets unhooked, and there you go. I would actually recommend a rug or a carpet because on a concrete, this thing can actually slide very easily. And if you let it slide very easily during the assembling, when you're actually pressing it down, you might break one of these rods here because inside here, there are very delicate little wires that actually put them together right here. So this is actually quite fragile. Now to assemble this here, make sure you find the center and also try to align the rods with the same alignment that you see on the softbox here. It's never going to be 100%, but I can show you guys what to do later. And then you want to pull the fabric up with your fingers here, and at the same time you push this down, and that's it. And then you come here and simply align the rods until they meet right here. So everything looks nice and neat. It's very easy to do. See that? Takes like 20 seconds or so. And there you go. Now the softbox is perfectly aligned. Everything looks pretty and very functional. All you gotta do is move the stuff around here. And there you go. Then over here, Velcro it nicely, and you're done. Now to install this fabric here, I would recommend that you actually undo everything. Then you place the whole thing on the ground, as you can see, with the silver material facing down. That's if you want a very nice and clean Velcro setup without any light leaking through, right? So what you want to do is to start the first little corner here, put your knee here, and stretch it like this. Then you continue to stretch right there, and everything is precisely done here. And you notice that there are 2 Velcro colors here. The black one is the part that, Velcros everything here. And the white Velcro is the part that's gonna go to the softbox right here. So let's put this on here. So the white Velcro is the part that actually goes on this little Velcros right there. So ideally you wanna start around here, not from the top, right here. Then lastly, finish it up here. Make sure everything is nice and taut. So this is what it looks like in the front here. You can actually pull this all the way to the front, whatever you want to do to minimize all leaks, to project this light very narrow this way here. And you can also fold this whole thing back inwards or outwards. So I usually prefer to tuck it in here. And the way I do it, I keep just the silver material like this here. And then you fold it in. There's a line here that you can see where the silver stuff is. Or you can just fold it outside like that, whatever. You know, make sure you tuck it in. If it doesn't grip, you can do a little nastiness like this. And there you go. Now you get traction. There you go. Nice and neat. Look how this looks like for your clients, right? You gotta look nice and neat. And then you don't have to undo anything. You just fold it like this here, just like a tarp. Fold it this way, karate style. And put this thing on the original little cellophane plastic that this came with to avoid any dirt and debris and everything. And of course, according to your preference, you can actually mount this on a regular stand. This B&H stands will do just fine. This is actually a nice heavy-duty stand, but Zhiyun also makes their own stand, which is equally as good as this one here. And the boom, all you have to do is to balance the weight. So when you unlock the boom, nothing goes anywhere, and you can just pivot everything with your pinky like this. So before you go crazy with the sandbags here, it is recommended that you balance the boom first so you don't put unnecessary excessive sandbag weights on the boom. So right now it's out of balance here. I did that on purpose. And then all you have to do is to do this here until it sits properly. Or you come all the way in the back here, just a couple inches or so. Still too back heavy. And that's it. Lock everything down and the boom is balanced. And of course you can actually pivot this way or that way. Then you lock it down. And as you can see, you have the same level of control, just like if this thing was a regular softbox, as long as you have the skirt installed. Especially if this softbox was the only softbox that you have available on set for some reason. Then you can actually do this here. The little one here I would personally use for small spaces. It doesn't matter if you're actually using the G200 or the X100. Especially if you mounted this thing on the boom, you don't want a huge modifier because this thing is already a super heavy load just with a small modifier because the boom is fully extended and it's actually less dangerous when you use a smaller softbox, which is all you need pretty much, right? So you can actually use with the grid for lighting control. You can remove the grid for a wider light beam, or you can actually just take this whole thing out of here for a harder shadow kind of look. So whatever it is they want to do. But this size is actually perfect, and this is super light, and I love the construction of this little one here especially because it looks very pretty. And again, I love this little gold, like soft little discrete gold details, and this is what it looks like, guys. Look at this thing. And again, this grid, there's no tummy. Once you put this upside down, the grid stays parallel to the white surface right there. So this is actually prettier than the big one, so I love this little one here. And again, don't forget to use that technique that I showed you. So I'm using a chair here, so I don't have to go all the way down on the floor, so I can actually show you guys here. So instead of undoing this way here, because there's a lot of pressure, you don't want to break this or unnecessarily wearing out the unit. So bend first, which reduces the stress tremendously. There you go, bend every time. And then when you're actually halfway through, you don't need to bend anymore. And the grid is actually still installed. You can still fold it down with the grid installed here. But I would actually prefer to remove the grid. Just in case you're in a hurry, you can do that. And again, I can't stress that enough. Don't break the softbox. So you start doing this here, nice and gentle. No need for big rush. Stop halfway and then bend the softbox. Every single rod, you gotta bend it until you're finished. And there you go. And just in case if one of these rods kind of misbehave, just ignore it and then finish assembling the rest, and then it should click back in place. Now check this out. This is how you're using the Parabolic Softbox without the diffuser. As you can see, it is just using this internal diffuser here, because if you put the diffuser in the front, it will look just like an ordinary octagon softbox, or even a softbox just like the ones that I showed you before that has the 16 rod here, right? So let's turn this on. And as you can see, it almost acts like a grid. Look at that. There's a spot right there. So we move the softbox just a little bit, it's out. And this is actually a very nice semi-hard light right there. So nothing, and boom, look at that. Pretty cool, right? The other softbox without any diffuser, it will spill light all over the background. So if you're interested in buying a parabolic softbox, some sort of a parabolic softbox, because this is more like a cone, but anyway, that will do the trick for you. Now we have the softbox with the actual diffuser. And of course you need at least 1 to 1.5 f-stops of gain, because once you put the diffuser in there. But now the light looks different. It's a very nice, diffuse, soft source of light right here. And as you move the softbox, you still have the subject lit and more light infiltrates on the background. So it pollutes a little bit. And this is when you need the grid, right? But just show you guys the difference. All right, now this is the softbox with the grid installed, and this is what you get. So you minimize the amount of light that's going on in the background there. And as you move the softbox, the subject can easily be out of the light source. And that's the end of my review. I hope you found the contents helpful. If you want to subscribe to this channel, I would really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comment section and respond to everything that I see there. So once again, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. So I have an actual native from China. I'm going to finally review to you guys how you actually say this, and also the symbols, what they mean. So how do you actually pronounce this?
Okay, so it pronounced Zhiyun, meaning smart cloud.
Awesome. There you go, guys. How do you say that again?
Zhiyun.
Zhiyun. Zhiyun.
Zhiyun.
Zhiyun.
Great.
Okay, awesome. 谢谢.
Okay.
Nice. So here's the playback. Look.
You're the best.
Oh yeah, this is gonna
You're
be
the
awesome.
best.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you for keeping my brush. Okay.